Hi everyone, welcome to my Pan Those Eyeshadows update number 9, I want to say. As always, it's in the title. I never can remember which one is it, but yeah. If you're not familiar with what Pan Those Eyeshadows is, it is a project that was created by Alexi, I want to say in 2018, somewhere around that time. And the main premise of this project, as the name might suggest, is to hit pan on eyeshadows. And since Alexi conceived of this project, it's went through many different variations, and everyone who does it kind of interprets it their own way. And so the way that I do it is I have a spreadsheet where I have all the names of all of my eyeshadows, whether it's the eyeshadows in palettes or just singles, and I take a random number generator and I generate 5 numbers, and then I take these numbers, look at my spreadsheet and see which eyeshadows those numbers correspond to, and then my goal is to hit pan on them. Unless of course they already have pan on them, then I need to re-roll. And once I do end up hitting pan on one or more of them, I get to roll in new eyeshadows to replace them. And that's basically how it goes. So yeah, this update is going to be pretty good. I'm very excited to film it. I have quite a few pans to share with you and other exciting things, which I'm not gonna spoil as of right now. So yeah, let's just get into it. As always though, before I get into the makeup, I just wanted to remind you again of the links I have in my description box. They're all to different organizations that one could donate to if they would like to help people in Ukraine. So for instance, there is one that's a Red Cross donation link, and another one specifically for Ukrainian children. So if you would like to help out and you have the funds to do that, those links are there for your convenience. And if you do end up donating, thank you so much. It means the world. Any help is extremely important and very much appreciated. So yeah, if you end up donating, again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. So let's just get back to the main subject of this video. Alright, so as always, I will be talking about my current color story, from the eyeshadow that's been in this project the longest to the one that's been rolled in most recently. And as of right now, the oldest eyeshadow I've been trying to pan comes from this palette, which is YSL, Very YSL. The eyeshadow from this palette I've been working on and is the first one in the palette. This palette has no name, so I have eyeshadows from it in my spreadsheet under like ordered or written under like the numbers I've given to them correspond to their place in the palette. I don't know why that took me so long to explain, but yeah. So as I said, it's the first eyeshadow in this palette. I've used it a total of 15 times, and here is what it's looking like today. I hope you can see that there's like a very tiny pan in it, and it's good enough for me. So yeah, we have pan in this palette, or in this eyeshadow rather. Here's a swatch of it, by the way. As you can see, it's kind of like purpley matte, and I hope you can tell it's very sheer. It's not my favorite eyeshadow, so hitting pan on it was like amazing because I was kind of tired of working on it. So yeah, everything's great. I'm so happy to be over with it. So yeah, I don't know what else to add regarding it. I feel like I've talked at length about why I don't like it in my previous updates, but yeah, let's just move on to the next one. Alright, moving on to eyeshadow number 2. It comes from this glorious palette, which is Musée Beauty, The Triumph of Venus, right? Yeah. The eyeshadow that I've been working on from this palette is called Shallow, and I used it a total of 12 times, and here is what it's looking like today. I think it's hard to miss this pen, unlike the one in the YSL shade, so yeah. We have another pen, which is pretty awesome. I don't know what to say at this point. But yeah, another pen. So we will be rolling out this eyeshadow as well. Here is a swatch of it, by the way. It's another matte, but it's baby blue kind of color. And it's also pretty sheer. I don't know if you can tell that from the swatch, but in this particular eyeshadow, I do actually like it because it makes it more, I guess, versatile. Because I found out that I do really like the look of like sheer blue on the lid. So I've been wearing it that way quite a few times. Or I've worn it that way quite a few times. And whenever I wanted it to be more like the way it looks in the pan, I would just put some white tacky product under it, and that way it would make it look more pigmented. I used the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil Milk, which works perfectly for that. So yeah, it's a great eyeshadow and a very beautiful palette, and I'm kind of I don't know, sad to have it rolling out, but hopefully we'll get another blue eyeshadow in its place because I do really like blue eyeshadow. Oh, and I forgot to mention it, but I hit pan on it in 11 uses, but I used it one extra time just because I like it so much. So yeah, we will be rolling this eyeshadow out and rolling in something new in its place later on in the video. So let's just move on to the next eyeshadow. So the third eyeshadow in my current color story comes from this palette, which is Halloween palette, which was in collaboration between Shroud Cosmetics and Betty Bean. And the eyeshadow that I've been working on from this palette is called Woodsboro, and I used it a total of, let's see, 11 times. And here is what it's looking like today. Hopefully you can see there is another pan, or like there is a pan in it, and it's another pan in my current color story. So yeah, pretty awesome. I'm very happy to have hit pan on it. I actually hit pan on it yesterday because I was trying to just hit pan on it so I can film this update. So it worked out perfectly. Yeah. Here's a swatch of it. By the way, it's very, like, it's your standard orange metallic shade. There's not that much to write home about it, so yeah. As you may know, I'm not a big fan of orange eyeshadow, so using it was kind of a chore, but I did it. And sometimes it's nice to get eyeshadows that you don't necessarily, or like colors you don't necessarily like, because it pushes you to figure out some ways you can use them, which is one of the great things about this project. And there were a few looks that are done with it that I kind of liked. So one of them was I just put this eyeshadow like on the bottom, on my lid and on my lower lash line, and then I did some like graphic lines around it, with, like, I think it was like one was a turquoise color, another one was kind of like this dusty movie purple, and another one was like lime green, and it was like kind of just scribbles doodles type of thing, and it looked pretty cool. So yeah, that's one thing I did. But yeah, mostly it was one of those cases where I just, whenever I was about to wash off my makeup of the day, especially if I didn't wear any like eyeshadow, I would just put it all over my eyes just to get some use out of it. So that's, I think that was the main way for me to hit pan on it. So yeah, we will be rolling this palette out, which is kind of unfortunate because it's like a Halloween themed palette, and it would have been nice to have it for October too, but also I'm so glad to be rolling out this orange. So yeah, another eyeshadow we will be replacing in the, I guess, second half of this video, so stay tuned for that. But other than that, I guess we can move on to the last two eyeshadows, so let's just do that. So the penultimate eyeshadow in my current color story is one that is from this wonderful palette, which is Autumn's Eye times Angelica Hella palette, and I'm pretty sure I rolled in this color last month, and since then I've used it a total of 14 times, and here is what it's looking like today. There's no pan in it, but there is like a little bit of a dip starting to form, which is nice, I guess. It's not like that impressive, but it's something. So yeah, here's a swatch of it. It's just a very cute matte bubblegum pink. I'm wearing it right now on my eyes. It's like in the outer half of my eye and on my lower lash line. Actually, most of the shades I wear in my eyes today are from this palette, except for the like pink to blue shimmer that I have on like the outer half of my eyes. So yeah, that's that. And if you're wondering like why do I have so little progress on it showing on it even though I used it 14 times, it is because I've mostly used it as a blush, and it looks very cute as a blush, but as some of you may know, if you used or tried to pan eyeshadows by using them as blushes, it takes a long time because you just go into like the whole eyeshadow surface area and not just like one point of it, so you wore it down more evenly rather than focusing on one specific place in the eyeshadow, if that explanation makes any sense. So it doesn't look like I've used it 14 times, but I did, I swear. And I don't know if you can tell right now after I swatched it, but there's a quite a lot of like, you can tell by the surface of it that I used it more regularly, or like, I don't know how to explain it. But it doesn't look as pristine as other eyeshadows, even even the ones that I used before, because like if you compare it to the one right next to it, there's still a bit of imprint left, but on Hella there's none because I use it as blush. So yeah, I don't know what else to add. So I guess we can move on to the final eyeshadow, and then to my personal favorite part of the of these updates, which is rolling in new shades. Okay, and finally, the fifth eyeshadow comes from a palette that has a pretty Halloween appropriate packaging, and it is Hella. I'm sorry, I'm like still with the Odin's eye shade. It's Nox by Baby Bad Beauty. And the eyeshadow that I've been working on from this palette is called Immortal. And by the way, it was rolled in at the same time as as Hella. So I've been using it for just 1 month. And yeah, I used it 6 times. And here's what it's looking like today. Similarly to Hella, there is not really that much progress on it. And I mean, 6 times isn't that much, so it's not that surprising. So yeah, here is a swatch of it, but I guess it's not that exciting to look at because it's just a matte black. A very good one, I have to say, but still. So I mostly use this eyeshadow as like eyeliner, so I would use like one of those skinny liner brushes. So I didn't use that much product to do that, and I guess that's why there's not that much use on it. And I also, the place that I ended up like focusing my brush in is the one that kind of was already there, because my eyeshadow came with kind of like a pressing defect, I guess. You can kind of see it also in the eyeshadow right above it, Bitten. There's like a little dip in it from pressing, and that's what Immortal also had, so I just thought I will be focusing in that little dip. So it kind of looks like I used it more, or I mean, it makes it look like I've used more of it, but in reality it's just a manufacturing thing. So yeah, I don't know what else to add about this eyeshadow, just except for the fact that I will be working on it for at least 1 more month, and I don't mind it. I actually very much enjoy this palette. It's not perfect when it comes to quality, but I just really like the colors in it. It's like mostly the mattes. Like it has all the colors that I would want for like a neutral makeup. So yeah, it's great in that sense. So it will be staying, and I don't mind that at all. Black is a very handy eyeshadow to have in your rotation. So that's basically it. I guess we can move on to the rolling in new eyeshadows segment of the video. Oh, and I almost forgot, but I also wanted to share bonus pens for the month, which I usually don't do because I almost never have them. But this month I have not just 1 but 2 bonus pens. So one of them, actually, you might have already noticed it, but it's from my Focus palette, and it is in the 3rd shade in it, which is this cute little purple. So yeah, now I have pans in all of the shades, which means that I can roll in a new Focus palette, which is a pretty big thing. And I'm very happy about it because I've been getting a little bored of it. So yeah, we will be rolling in a new Focus palette, and I am not going to tell you what it is because I don't know, it's not as fun. So yeah, you'll find out soon what it is. And another pan that I have to share comes from, or is in this little ColourPop Super Shock Shadow, which is called DGAF. And I have to be careful showing it to you because it's kind of broken, which I think is why I hit pan on it, but I don't know. I think you can see it's like a small little pan. It's not my favorite ColourPop Super Shock that I have, but it is quite pretty. It's kind of like this reddish, rosy red base with some gold sparkle in it, and like it works fine, but it's not my favorite. It's from this Super Shock Shadow set they had like a few years ago, and I just got it because it had some, I think, like exclusive colors which I really wanted, and this one just happened to be in it also. So yeah, we have pan in this eyeshadow that I don't particularly care for. So I guess that's nice. So yeah, that is it for the bonus pan segment. And now finally we will be rolling in 3 new shades to replace these 2 from my general spreadsheet, and we also will be rolling in a whole new focus palette, which is pretty exciting. So let's just get into that. Okay, Pretty Random app is ready to go. I will start with the 2 eyeshadows from my general spreadsheet. So let's see what we're getting. So the first eyeshadow is one under number 364, and the second one will be number 50. Wow, I haven't gotten an eyeshadow this low on the list in a while, so I might, yeah, I'll have to make sure that none of them have pan. But now I will change my maximum from 13, 18 to 6 for our new focus palette. So yeah, let's see which focus palette shade we're getting. Number 2. I think that's the one, because that palette has 9 shades, but I have pan in 2 of them, but I'm pretty sure that number 2 is one that doesn't have pan. So yeah, let me just go and check, and if everything's in order, I will show you the new roll-ins. Okay, so I just checked my spreadsheet and everything, and actually the number 50 corresponds to a shade that I have already pan in, and it's actually a shade from my new focus palette. So an interesting coincidence, but yeah, we will have to roll in a new shade to replace it. So let's roll in one more time, and the new shade is 479. So let me check what this one is, and hopefully this one doesn't have a pan in it. Okay, so eyeshadow 479 does not have a pan in it, so now I can finally show you my new roll-ins. So we will start from the one that was under number 364, and it comes from Pure Raw Beauty Christy collab, which I don't think this eyeshadow palette has ever been in this project. So yeah, it's nice to have it in. But yeah, the eyeshadow is called Camelot, and I want to say it's the mustard yellow from like the neutral side. So let's check, and I was right. Camelot is indeed that eyeshadow. Here is what it's looking like currently. As you can see, it's been used, but I don't know if you can see actually, but it's been used, but there's no like particular or noticeable wear and tear on it. So yeah, that's nice. I don't mind having a mustard yellow. It's a cute eyeshadow, and I want to say that it shouldn't be that hard to hit pan on because these eyeshadows from this palette are actually very powdery, so I'm sure it wouldn't be that difficult to hit pan on it. So yeah, that's our eyeshadow number 1. And the second eyeshadow, which I had to re-roll for, the number 479, comes from this palette, which is So Jaded by ColourPop and Kathleen Lights. Yeah, the eyeshadow that I rolled in is called Rose Quartz, and I'm pretty sure it's like this slightly pinky brown matte. So let's see. Yes, it is. I recently had this palette out, and I used that particular shade, so I kind of remember. So here's what it's looking like today. Similarly to Camelot, there's no dip or anything in it, but it's been used a couple of times, so yeah, that shouldn't be that hard to work with. It's a very easy eyeshadow to incorporate if you're going for like a more neutral leaning look. And I've been more into like not so intense makeup lately compared to like what I used to wear maybe like a year ago. So an eyeshadow like that would definitely come in handy. That's what I'm trying to say. And finally, our new focus palette is another The Balm palette, which is actually my final The Balm palette, and I want to say it's like currently in my collection, if you exclude the YSL palette, it's my second oldest palette. So I better get some use out of it because it's pretty old. I remember clearly using it for my high school graduation makeup, and that was in 2017. So that's how old it is. Yeah, so without further ado, the eyeshadow that we rolled in from this palette is the second one, and I kind of spoiled it for myself because if you can see here, there are like all the colors shown at the back. So I looked at the back and kind of ruined the surprise for myself. But the second eyeshadow that is also the one we rolled in is called Matt Thomas, and it's a pastel pink, which I don't know how I feel about because I'm already working on a pink eyeshadow, but this one is much lighter, so it's nice because I can use it as a transition shade for Hella, but also it would have been more fun to have something different, but I also don't mind it. So yeah, that's that. That's our new... Oh, did I even say what this palette is called? It's the Balm Meet Matrimony palette. So yeah, it's a very cute palette, and I just realized that it's actually kind of looks similar to NYX, but it's like when it comes to mattes, but it's more neutral than NYX, but they kind of have the same reddish neutral vibe. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, that is all for our new roll-ins. So now I'm just gonna swatch everything out and show you my October color story, and we can look at it in comparison to my September one, just for fun and games. Okay, so here's my October color story. I feel like, I mean, it's kind of cute, isn't it? I wish there would have been more diversity of textures, because this time we have an all matte color story, which I don't really mind, but it doesn't look as exciting as something that has a shimmer in it, but it's nice. I think I do like it better than my last month's color story. I don't know, something, I mean, it looks nice. This also looks nice, but yeah, I don't know. You tell me, which one do you like better? Because I feel like both of them kind of have something about them that makes them quite nice. But here, I feel like it's more cohesive, kind of. Like the matte Thomas shade, I could use it either with Hella or with rose quartz. I could use these, like I could use any of these with the black or immortal. So it's pretty, like, what's the word? There's a lot that I could do with all these colors, which is nice. So yeah, having said all that, I think we can move on to my goals, which is what I usually do. I will talk about my yearly goals and my my progress on my yearly goal, and also my goals for October, what I would like to have pan in, and so on and so forth. So let's just move on to that, and then we will finally wrap up this video. Okay, so if you're new here and you haven't seen my previous updates, my goal for the year is to get to 100 pan mark in my whole collection, so to have a total of 100 pans. And if my current calculations are correct, as of right now, I have 88 pans in total. So that means I need to hit 12 more. And I don't know if I'll be able to do that, because I just have basically 2 months, unless I will, and that's if I don't finish this project like in the end of November instead of in the end of December. So I don't really have that much time, unless I just go crazy and hit like 6 pans or more in a month, which I kind of doubt that would happen. So yeah, I don't think I'll have 100 pans by the end of the year, but that's okay. It was a pretty ambitious goal for myself, so not having achieved it is fine by me. I still have hit quite a few pans this year, so it's fine. But moving on to the goals for the next month, I honestly don't know. Like, looking at this color story, I feel like the shade that I am most likely to hit pan on might be Hella, but I'm not sure. Or maybe Camelot, because as I said earlier, these eyeshadows are very soft pressed, so I think I might be able to hit pan on it next month. Maybe Hella, because if I use it more as an eyeshadow than a blush, maybe that will help me to panic quicker. But as for the rest of them, I'm not particularly I don't really see myself hitting pan on them next month, but who knows? I might be wrong. So yeah, I think that is it for all the goals. So let's just conclude this video finally. I feel like it's been going on forever. Okay, so that was it for me. That was a pretty eventful update. I hit a total of 5 pans. I within and without project, and I finished I panned a whole palette, my focus palette, and rolled in a new one, so that's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to getting more use out of the bulb palette, so that's nice. I don't know what else. I guess here's another look at my new color story. It's cute, right? It's not super dynamic, but it's nice. I don't know, let me know what you think. Here is it next to the old color story. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically it. So thank you so much for watching. It's great to have you here. I hope you're doing good, taking care of yourself and everything. So yeah, bye.